Alrighty, so this is DC We the People News. Okay? Happy New Year's to everybody out there. And I hope everybody had a wonderful New Year's and a Merry Christmas. And we're going to start off this year with a good one, y'all. Alright? Now, that being said, I got to go through my little routine. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to give legal advice. Okay? Anything I say or do is opinion only. Do not take it as legal advice. Why? Because I'm not an attorney. That's why, people. All right. This video is going to be arm length because I don't know enough about it. So, but it's got enough information in there that I am a little concerned about UT hiding it. All right. This is from the Fearless Floyd Show. Okay. T-H-E, obviously. F-E-A-R-L-E-S-S. Okay. Floyd, F-L-O-Y-D. Show. S-H-O-W. All right. And if you can read this or not, it's Court Clerks' Secrets Revealed. The nitty gritty. Alright, so we know that there are certain things in the backgrounds that they are doing right or wrong. I'm not going to say right or wrong. That's your decision. Okay? But there is a lot more in depth to this. So this may be a 5-part video. Okay, but if you want it all in one sum, why it's still on UT, it's 2 hours and 49 minutes and 16 seconds. Okay? Just saying, there's a lot of information that you guys want to know about. Mine's going to be torn down in bits and pieces. I'm doing it as just in case UT is taking it. Okay? Let's go.
James, Ann, Kevin, and Anita, co-hosts, in case y'all want to share anything for documentation or instruments. If anybody else needs that privilege, just let me know. Yeah. And Anita seems to have difficulties. What was nobody's name?
Chris. Hey, Chris.
Chris. Okay. Hey, Chris, you want to give us an introduction to who you are and why you're here? I can't believe we got 7 people on here.
I'm here to listen to the court clerk. We've been talking about this for the last week, and Josh brought this to our attention not a couple days ago, and I said, "Oh yeah, I definitely want to speak to her."
Right.
I want to hear some insight.
And this is my second court clerk to verify that they're issuing bonds on the backside. The first one, I'll give you all the story. I was helping somebody move from Fort Lauderdale, and we needed somebody to drive the property back from Fort Lauderdale to Houston. So somebody that was with us said, "Hey, I got some friends that are drivers," and called them up, and man, they showed up and brought a trailer. So while we're packing everything, putting it on the trailer, there's 2 women drivers, truck drivers. So I kick it with them because I'm in the entertainment industry, and it's rare to see a woman truck driver. So I was like, how'd you get into truck driving? She goes, "Well, I used to be a deputy or a clerk in Mississippi." And I went, "What?" I go, "So you know about the bonds?" That was the first thing out of my mouth. "So you know about the bonds?" And she's like, "Mom, oh, you know about the bonds too?" And I went, "Oh yeah, I know about the bond. Come here, let's go have a talk." So,
can you guys hear me, Mr. Floyd?
Yes, we can hear you
now.
now.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes.
I apologize. Yes, ma'am, I apologize. I need a new phone. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Quit apologizing.
Don't worry.
Maybe we'll do a
It's a
GoFundMe
learning
and get you a new
process,
phone.
too. I promise I'll have my new Mac and new computer by next week. Thank you guys for your patience.
Yeah, let me finish the story, and then we'll let you do your introduction, and then we'll get started.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, you're welcome. So we went aside, and she was actually, when she left the clerk's office, she went and worked for a legislator in Mississippi and became a legislative aide. And those fools know about it too. They don't know the whole machinations of A to Z, but they know A, M, P, Q, Z. They know they know enough to know that there's something's going on in the background. I had her contact number. I had her in Telegram, and for some reason she disappeared. So I'm thinking when my phone was stolen in August, I lost her contact information. But I'm trying to backtrack through that and get it back. So I will have 2 verifiable sources aside from Anita to verify exactly what's going on in the background. So with that, I will digress. Anita, give us your introduction of who you are and how you came to be here and what you want to present today. And before that, let me introduce you to everybody. Of course, you know Ann LaFleur. Next to Ann is James C. Lovett. He's
Hi, Mr. Lovett. How are
from
you?
YouTube.
Hi, Anita. How are you? Pleasure.
And this is Kevin Westring. He's a former VP at TD Ameritrade Schwab. This is Joshua, one of his running partners. And
Hi,
you. And then we have Chris, who's coming in as Mr. Nobody, and he's a researcher for Kevin and Joshua.
Hello, Anita.
Awesome. Hello,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time and your patience. I am currently living in Mobile, Alabama. I've worked for a circuit court for almost 7 years. Be 7 years in April, and I'm trying to learn the process and how this goes. I was under the deputy clerk of Mobile County, and I don't know how much you want me to let them know, but I work for the
Everything.
state. Yeah. Okay,
Everything.
we'll do. I appreciate that. They were just,
You don't even have to pause. You can just tell us your story.
I work for the. Yes, ma'am. I'll let it all out. I work for the deputy clerk of Mobile County, and there are 3 deputy clerks. You have one over the entire county. You have one for the Circuit Civil Division, and then there's one deputy clerk for domestic relations. The 2 that are in question is the deputy clerk for Mobile County, who works over all of the divisions and the county, then the circuit clerk, deputy clerk. Make a long story short, I process writ, ejectments, and distinguish orders for the state. And they were doing some unethical stuff. And I think once I learned what they were doing, and I tried to counteract that, because some of these people were just not knowledgeable on what to do in the process. There is a couple of ways that they were taking homes from people lawfully. My last, I think his name was Mr. Nettles. I have to find out his case number, but he had paid his home off.
Excuse me. Explain process.
Mhm.
Explain process.
The process is for them to do it several ways. It's one way that they do it. They'll run an ad in the paper. Make a long story short, run an ad in the paper. If you don't pay your taxes consecutively for 3 years, they can obtain a tax lien deed. And the gentleman that kind of hit the fan with, he had paid his home off. His wife had passed. He took care of all of the finances, all of the bills, and never put it into homestead. They were sending, I'm not sure who they entailed, but they were sending his taxes, which he thought he didn't have to pay because it should have been in homestead, to a different address. They paid it consecutively for 3 years. He contacted me when the sheriff showed up at his house to put them out. They ran an ad in the paper, I think 4 weeks, and they won by default. So they go through that process. And if the sheriff would not have, I'm sorry, it could be an attorney, it could be a regular citizen, it could be anybody. If they pay those taxes consecutively for 3 years, they can obtain a deed. And you have an opportunity to tell your side as a defendant. If you don't show up for court, you automatically win by default. And that's how the sheriff was at his house. And he's an elderly gentleman. He was like 73. And he didn't understand the process. And I kind of know how it goes. And he was upset. And naturally, his family said, you have a moving company there to put you out of your home and you have no idea. Well, make a long story short, they got a letter to the judge by the grace of God, and the judge gave them their homes back. And this has happened several times with several different people. Another lady, St. Mrs. Latasha was her name. She was under an agreement. Make a long story short, the plaintiff was corrupt and did something unethical, put her out of the home, $650,000 home and property. And I was bringing attention to these issues, so they got rid of me out of the way because these people were getting their homes back. Normally, an attorney would charge them a retainer of $5,000 to $7,500 to represent them in a case this far along and this far progressed. In actuality, they just have to ask for a court hearing and get back in front of the judge. So I was cutting a lot of the foolishness out by having them, and I probably shouldn't have, but I had to sleep at night. Having these people who were about to lose their homes write a letter to the judge just asking to set aside judgment and ask for another court hearing. And we had some good judges and we had some bad ones. And several of them got their homes back. So I was the target under investigation, no wrongdoing found on my part. So me being a permanent state employee, they can't just fire me, and I'm with the union. So we're at that phase now. They have not to date given a justification, a legitimate justification for my termination from the state of Alabama. So I wanted to, the Fearless Wolf gentleman, I've seen him, and my girlfriend said, he's awesome. You need to contact them. And she sent me the link, and I saw the Fearless gentleman first, and then Mr. Wolf first, and then Mr. Fearless gentleman second. And I'm like, I gotta get in contact with these people. So it's just been a process of retaliation. No attorney wants to take my case because of the level of documentation I have, and they are guilty. So they are afraid to take the case. They did a judgment against my husband for $159,000 on an empty case, which is unethical. So that was abuse of the court and misconduct of the court for that under Judge Pipe. Judge York was my judge. So it's just been compounded. It's a cocktail of things that they've done wrong. And I was told that I shouldn't go after their bond because that's a whole nother level of irritation on their part. But I don't really know what to do other than pray and kind of get my ducks in order. I have to amend my complaint this week and file it back in circuit court.
You know,
Hello?
seriously, yeah. They have an ISLN number, which is their international bond. All you have to do is bring up that number directly to their face and show it to them, and they'll flip out because that's the numbers they're hiding. So they have their bar number for the state, and then they have another number called an ISLN number. And it's really easy to find that.
How? I've called the Secretary of State. Can I get it online?
There's a website that all you have to do is go to it and type in their name, and it comes up.
What does ISL
Are you serious? Yeah, what does that stand for?
The ISLN number is international state legislative numbers for bars, and it means that they literally are an international foreign bar association. They belong to it. And what that means is each time they belong to this International Foreign Bar Association, and you can prove it by the ISLN number, all you have to do is turn in an FARA investigation because they're operating as a foreign entity on American soil.
Okay. Do you have that website number?
And 99 out of 100 times, they do not put their license in to be a foreign agent, a registered agent on United States soil, and that's how you could disqualify them.
Exactly.
Oh my God! I didn't know that.
And
I did not know that.
These courts are not common law courts. They're not courts of record. there is not a single court of record. There is courts of record in the United States, but there is not in any court system. So everything they do, you have to challenge their jurisdiction over it. And this is where I'm at right now. Because I tried to be nice, and I tried to tell them, look, I know you've got these bonds. There's 6 of them that you've taken out on me. And I will swap positions with you. I will be your trustee, and I will make you the beneficiary, and I will give you the money if you just get rid of the damn case. Well, they don't want to do that. So basically, I'm saying, okay, because I'm the grantor, you took it out of my account, so now here's how it's going to go. Turn in 56 forms with the IRS, and literally make them the beneficiary, and then start filing against them, and turn your money back into your hands, and actually make them the trustees, because that's who they are. And it literally states so in the laws of all states that all government officers are the trustees for the beneficiaries of the state.
Okay. Well, I think okay. They have, so I let me bypass. I won't try to get that. I'll just go to the website you just recommended. I'll get that from you. But I found out she's under a blanket bond. Is that any different, or does that mean anything?
Okay, now let me explain blanket bonds. I did bonds for the win. I understand these damn blanket bonds. Okay, so we were going after school boards during bonds for the win. We were going after the governors and everybody else. Well, what a blanket bond means is it's in a pool. It's called a pool bond. So you could have between 4 to 7 different insurance companies listed on that pool. So basically, you can't go after the damn bond because literally it belongs to risk management. And risk management has moved from risk management to directly under the Attorney General of the state. So if you go to get the bond from risk management or to file a claim at risk management for the bond, immediately the Attorney General will send you a letter. They will not give it to you. So the only way you can do this is go after their ISLN bond. And the website's name is martindale.com. And all you do is bring up martindale.com, and they have a search bar on the homepage, and you type the name of the person, and you search. And then it'll come up with different names if there's more than one. Look at the one, and it comes up with the county and the state. So look at for your county and state, click on it, scroll down the page, and you'll find out everything they went through. School they attended, blah, 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 when they got their, graduated and everything, and then they'll give you their ISLN number.
Okay, and that's martindale.com.
Yeah, Dale. MARTINDALE. Martindale.
Got it.
Yep. It's a wonderful tool.
I have gone, and I was fussing, and Mr. Floyd and Miss Lisa were so wonderful because they fined my husband out of retaliation, $159,000 for nothing. They have fired me and refused to respond. They have not responded to my attorney, for my union attorney, to why I've been terminated. So it's a lot. It's millions involved in this. I get it, but I don't understand how they could have done this, and no one is saying anything. And then the attorneys are afraid. I understand the process. I've worked with them years, and no one wants to fight the giant. So I will do it this way. I've been warned twice that they're scared they're going to hurt me. I'm not afraid of that at all. But it's just been a very hurtful process, and I can't believe the level of corruption at the state level. So it's unbelievable. So I really appreciate this knowledge and this time. Are you laughing?
I'm laughing, but
Yes.
you don't understand. We appreciate you coming on and verifying everything that we've known is going on in the background. We just can't grasp it and put it out here on Front Street for everybody to go, here, there it is.
And I want to ask my attorney. Yeah, I'll give you case numbers. I called him. I'm waiting on him to call me back. What they do, and like I said, I processed for the writs. A writ is, the writ is writs of distribution, writs of possessions, and writs of execution. I've watched them confiscate property and then turn around and stuff. The sheriff was in on it with me, just being honest. I won't give any names because they're still there and I want to protect them from that. Sell the property for $1. How do you obtain 8 acres of land for $1 and give it to your attorney friend? This is what they were doing. They were auctioning this off.
I can tell you how after digging into a case in Florida. She had a $1.5 million home. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen them. The $650,000. It was the house and the land and the property and the assets on it. They breached contract and took it because the family was wealthy. The attorneys got paid, and I know as of right now, a gentleman that I got an attorney friend who was a judge to help him. They took $450,000. They said the judgment was $8 million. The estate was transferred to probate, and they are supposed to give this money back. I'm waiting to see if this happens because I believe he was also a part of the reason. He was a friend of the judge, the attorney that took the property. So it was a lot of corruption, and they did not want me to be deputy clerk over Mobile County with, I guess, integrity. So yeah, it's been going on.
Let me try to explain a lot of how they're doing this. Usually with all these home loans, there's certain states, a lot of states that will use property deeds or deeds of trust. So when they file the loan or they file the loan paper, they'll give these people a deed of trust to sign. So that deed of trust does not go to their trust. It goes to, we don't even know who, somebody in California or somebody in another state. And
the last one go to Texas. You're right. That is absolutely, and I don't quite understand all the logistics of it. But how can they do this for so long? The sheriff between us left the week before they terminated me. She said they've been doing this for she was there 23 years. She said they were doing it before she got there. And they've been taking property like this forever, and no one has ever done anything because a lot of people have their hand in the cookie jar. And then they can turn around and sell it back. And a lot of these people are just not knowledgeable on how to fight nor have the funds to fight. And 3 of them, I helped the granddaughter write the letter. It was just a simple paragraph. Would you please set aside judgment? I humbly request another court hearing. I was not served. And the judge gave their homes back instead of paying the attorney $5,500 to file a case that he was not going to do anything on anyway because his friend was involved. So that was the type of hurtful things I had to deal with. These people are just good people who worked hard for what they have. And they had to get me out of the way. So now...
real estate is the biggest scam there is. Real estate is the biggest scam there is. I just helped a guy in Arizona. And we figured out that where his home sits, the state thought they owned that property. They haven't owned that property, or they gave it back in 1936 before they became a state of the union. So they don't own where his land sits. So he was able to, trace all this stuff, and he found the original deed of trust. That they filed in the clerk's office for $10 in his name. But then somebody else came behind him and filed another one, and this is how they work. Anybody can go in and just file a deed of trust, and anybody can just take over the deed, and all they do is put $10 on it. Transfer it for $10.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How can they, my question is, because I don't know. It's called a dynasty trust. I'm still learning all of that. I don't quite understand. It's so much in probate and circuit that it's just not, they don't discuss. But these people have, is there any way once their property's been taken, they can obtain the property back? When the judge files dismiss with prejudice, is
Well,
there
you
any
know
way
what?
they can?
The only thing they can honestly do, because it was taken illegally, is go in and file a mechanics lien on their home for as many years as they've been in their home. So they've done the maintenance on the property for X number of years that they've owned that home and paid it off. So they can literally file a mechanics lien, UCC1, against the home. That means that the mechanics lien has got to be paid off before they can even sell the home again or even transfer the home again.
And they will file that in probate?
Yeah, a lot of times, you know, well, we file the UCC1 loan, you know, that's against things.
You can
They
file
have
that. You can file that mechanics lien right with the county, and because this is what you have to do. You know, you've been the sole provider, all the maintenance, all the security, so you've been there 24/7 for however many days.
What don't you understand?
Whatever it has to be, you have the ability to put that mechanics lien on with the county, and then you're the superior lien holder. At that.
Okay. Well, I have 3 people I have to reach out to because they lost everything and no one did anything because a lot of the attorneys have their hands in the jar. And one piece of property had been in the family's, I guess, trust for 50 years, 60 years, well, 80 years because my grandmother purchased it. Then they took the house and the 1 acre, 40 acres. They now have 39 acres. And the Judge Patterson Circuit Court, Mobile, Alabama, allowed this to happen on a publication, and that they won by default. Did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. So I will make those calls and have at least the 3 if I can locate them to see what they can do at this point because it's just unreal. It's just unreal, and no one cares.
That being said, this is an educational video, y'all. All right? Everything is said on here is hearsay. Do your own research.
Well,
The whole problem is none of these courts have jurisdiction. Not a single court has jurisdiction over anyone. And right now, I mean, seriously, I've been digging into the jurisdiction part of this whole thing. And
I'm
just
trying to understand too because they don't. Maybe I can learn from you on that jurisdiction. I'm still learning that. I had a Mr. Johnson, who the attorney sold his property. He was in bankruptcy. They still sold the property. I don't understand how they did that. No one did anything, and he lost his property. So it's just been understand. Is there an area I could go and learn about jurisdiction, or are you more? I know you're more knowledgeable about that than I am.
Oh, I just have to start digging and digging. Maybe.
So there's so much there that like my mind is like on fire with just things. I'm like, okay, this is what you should do. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The mortgage your house. Okay, your initial. Sounds like somebody's a little loud.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, there we go. All right, so there's fraud from the beginning of the mortgage process. The moment that you sign your application and they take your promissory note, they monetize that behind your back, okay? And so that note pays off the house. The house has been paid off within the first 45 days of you signing that application. The bank didn't come to you with anything. They can't loan their assets. That's already been proven by modern money mechanics. They can't loan their assets. So where do they get the deposit from? They get the deposit from that promissory note because we, in our natural born standing, we are the creditors. Mm-hmm. The moment they get our signature, they then monetize that instrument, and the house is paid off. So that becomes fraud right then and there because the bank has issued not 1 cent in your property. But like you were saying before, when you don't pay said things like taxes or whatever else, they then kind of come in and say, oh, now we have an interest in the property. But see, then there's also the fraud. There's the fraud where there is no law that states that we have to register any of our assets with them. Not your house, not your car, not your children, none of that stuff. There is no law. Now, they might ask and say you need to or you should, but that's an ask. You don't have to register your property with them, but the moment you do, you bring them in as trustees or we'll just say non-financial investors into your scenario. Same thing with your marriage. Anything where you're asking them for permission or a license, Supreme Court has already ruled that we can ignore those things with impunity. So you can actually sue them for all of that across the board, but you're gonna have to take them to federal district court. You're not gonna get any help on the lower levels because those are all.
No, they won't even talk about it. That is absolutely right. They won't even talk about it.
So when it comes to jurisdiction, okay, the short version of this is that basically everything out of Washington, D.C. is foreign, though they are masquerading using our stuff. Every corporation, it's a corporation. Corporation is Latin for body animation. Corpus body, ation is to animate. So we are animating dead bodies that are considered foreign to the United States of America. Now, they play it so close to the chest that the term the United States has 3 different definitions. One is the body politic, one is the geographical United States of America, and the other one is the corporation known as the United States, but it's actually foreignly owned, operated, and held. Anything under that foreign one, the state of, the corporations that go to them, they've all incorporated up the line through Washington, D.C. So that is a completely foreign operation. That's what she was talking about before, Ann. So that means that by jurisdictional...
The court district of Illinois, the court district of, anything with an of is foreign.
Yep. So basically, it means not, in other words, for our terminology, it means not real or of a private jurisdiction. So these lower courts went to the upper courts and said, hey, we will take care of all the little stuff on the bottom, tickets and little minor things, just only the stuff that's registered to us, and we'll deal with it to keep all that stuff from clogging up the upper courts. So what they're doing is all legislative or in-house. It's incorporation. It's within the foreign corporate United States. It's not operating onto the federal district level, the Supreme Court, any of those things. That's actually judicial. So the stuff from the upper courts, that's judicial jurisdiction, meaning absolute. You can go by case law. They go by things that have already been settled, protected by the Constitution of the United States Constitution for the United States of America, excuse me. But anything down here on the lower end, it's all buddy inside what they call good old boy inside the corporation.